This episode of Convert to Raid is brought to you in part by World of Tanks. Play for free and help directly support this show by heading to ctrdeal.com/tanks. And I've got some free stuff for you when we talk about it during the show. Welcome home, Raiders. This week, Alpha turns to Beta and the floodgates open, but not as wide as you may think. And faction capitals. Yeah, faction capitals. This is CTR 148.
You're listening to Convert to Raid, the podcast for raiders in the world of Warcraft.
The brand new podcast power station in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Hi, my name is Pat Crane. I'm your host of this little shindig. I'm also known as Zug around Airy Peak, US, and yeah, still raiding with the fellas over in Asparagus Initiative, and the players. They're here too. Today is, by the way, June 29th, and it is 11:17 a.m. So let's go out to serene Seattle and go visit Darius.
Hi, I'm Darius. How about that beta? Cool. All right, World Cup. Bye.
World Cup, yes. Let's talk more about the World Cup. So, who's playing right now as we speak?
The Netherlands and Mexico are currently playing.
And this is a big game?
All these games at this point are a big game.
All right.
But yeah, this is a big game.
All right. Well, speaking of big games, let's go out to LA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's go out to La La Land, Hollywood, and visit the Funky Monk. It's Coltrane.
I've got such big game.
That's
over
right.
Here. Yeah, let me
Coltrane, the big game.
A big game. I got an old classic.
Uh-oh.
An old classic.
All right.
Fortune cookies say.
Oh, boy.
A Pandaren who cooks in the dark must use a shadow pan. Huh?
How does it have a shadow if it's in the dark?
Is it what? Hey, whoa!
There are shadows in the dark.
No
it has to be low
here.
light. Low light.
No logic allowed. That's a good point.
No joke. No joke logic allowed.
No joke logic. It's a shadow ban in the dark. What the heck, Darius? You don't use logic.
Don't
with
ruin it.
Cookies.
Don't ruin it for the people.
Come on,
it's
the people.
It's already a fortune cookie, and it's already
right.
ruined by itself
No
just by
logic
being
allowed.
a fortune cookie. So it's
Jeez
fine.
Louise.
Well, hi, fellas.
Hello.
Oh man, we're having a good time already today, and it happened during the pre-show. During the pre-show, it was just talking Transformers and stuff like that. You got to come for the show.
Right.
It's so much fun. So much fun. So let's chat a little bit about WoW now.
I got 10 out of 10 bongos. I got 10 for Darius. Wow.
No.
Oh, look at that.
No.
Nice.
Wow.
The chat is turning on me.
Nice. Oh,
They're
wow.
turning on me.
Wow,
No.
there's a 900 billion bongos
Oh,
Yeah.
for that one. Oh, boy.
I can't look. I can't look. I gotta put these on.
All right, fellas. Well, let's talk some WoW, and maybe Darius, we'll start with you. Other than soccer, what has been going on with you, maybe game-wise?
I haven't done a whole lot in game. I actually missed part of the raid on Sunday and all of the raid on Monday.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I know.
You really did.
Wow.
You
Why would
really
I
did.
do
Yeah.
And then during the week, I did some more LFRing on my druid, VP capped, so that I could not take advantage of the new buff.
The prince is watching you buff.
Yeah.
Yes.
The gaze of the black prince.
Yes, that one.
Prince? I don't know what I'm doing.
No, that's
Prince.
correct.
Yes, Prince.
So I. Oh boy.
Off to a good start on this show. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So you've been.
So I did that. I think we started this week with Asparagus. We started at Iron Jugs and we worked all of our way up to Thok. So I think that's where I left, or close to there.
Yep.
And then we're on Siegecrafter, and we'll probably start on Siegecrafter tonight again, because man, that fight is
Easy.
hectic.
Right.
Cake.
It's totally easy.
It's like Nurashen, really.
Yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same fight.
Right.
You just copy and pasted.
Right.
Right.
It's Yep.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Haven't done
alright.
a whole lot in game though.
Cool. Coltrane, how about you?
I have tails.
What?
And I don't mean that I have a furry tail.
Oh, okay. All right.
And many of them.
I was kind of confused there for a second.
I mean that I have tales of heroes.
Oh.
Tales of a team known as Rectified. Rectified. Yeah.
Thanks for giving me the wind up.
Tried to give you as much lead time as I could.
Right. So what happened, man?
I've got tales.
All right.
So last week, our good friend Mike Shaffnet.
Yeah.
Right. So remember last week. So Mike Shaffnet is now rating.
He got the shaft. He got the shaft on gear last week. Yeah.
We went 14 out of 14. We did heroics all the way up to spoils. And out of 14 bosses, he did not get one single piece of loot, not a single piece of tier gear, jewelry, nothing, not even like a token, like nothing.
Right.
This week, however, Mike found himself with 7 pieces of loot, and he went up 11 eye level.
Wow. Congratulations, Mike. It's about time.
There it is. In one run, he went from a 549 to a 560.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
That's
so
cool.
it was great. It was glorious. Like every boss was dropping leather agility. He plays a feral druid.
Yeah.
So it was just beautiful. Like right out of the gate from a Mercius, he got the heroic headpiece and so on and so forth. And it was just amazing. So
cool.
Mike got some upgrades. So we're excited about that.
Awesome.
And it was a really good raid. We just did a full clear, getting players geared up and getting ready for 6.0 because we're going to be going mythic. So we're going to add another 10 to the roster.
When are you going to be doing that? I mean,
we're getting all the pieces in order. Like we got the app ready. We've got all the stuff. In fact, you can actually apply right now at rectified.com. That's WRECKEDIFIED.com. And you can apply for the team now, but we're going to do the big recruiting push as 6.0 gets closer. I'm assuming that Blizzard will give us a heads up when 6.0. I hope it's not, 6.0 drops tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So that's what I'm expecting, actually.
I don't know. I sure hope
they
not.
did that with beta this week.
They did indeed.
They did. So who knows? It's that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
So good luck to you guys as you move forward and start getting some new team members in there and all that kind of stuff. I know that last week for the Asparagus Initiative, we were on Siegecrafter and we did okay. I mean, we're still working through it a lot. We're still having to get our little everything in place. But man, that belt, I don't know what's going on with that belt. Because right now, I mean, I think what it is right now, everybody's taking damage from everything. So I'm like, okay, do you need a healer over there right now or what? I mean, is it that bad where you need somebody to just kind of like hang out with you guys or what? And I don't know what it is, but I think we got Siegecrafter to like right around 50%, I want to say. So I mean, we're getting better. Actually, it might have even been less. Might have been like 40. I don't know. But we're working on it. And this week's lockout, we start at Thok this week, so we can do Thok, and then we can do try to clear that in quick order. Last week, I think it took like about a half hour, 45 minutes. Maybe an hour to clear them again. I heard
that heroic Siegecrafter is where it really kind of hits the fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
In fact, if I remember, this is where a lot of the World First Guilds, Method, Blood Legion, all these guys, they kind of stopped, I believe, at Siegecrafter. I think that's where it kind of hits the fan. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it definitely seems that way. And it's one of those things where I can see why we're going to be here for a little bit. There's so much responsibility placed on an entire group of people. Those guys on the belt, those guys have got to survive, make it through, kill stuff.
Right. And they happen to just all be hunters, which
doesn't bode well for our team. No, I'm kidding. No. They're great. But yeah, it's very, very tough. I don't know. A couple of quick things before we head into the news. And that is program note. Next week, we're not going to be here. It's 4th of July, and everybody's going to be all over the place. I know that I have family coming into town. My mom's getting married, which is weird. And so I'm going to be out, and I'm sure that you guys have things to do. Darius, I know that you were planning stuff as well. So
yeah, I'm going to be busy grilling and thrilling. If you know what I'm saying, it doesn't make any sense.
Nice.
That might be in Canada. Good place to spend the 4th of July weekend.
Absolutely.
Right.
But also, congrats to your mom, Pat, on getting married. That's wonderful news.
Yeah, big applause for my mom.
Yes.
Again.
Woo! That's excellent.
So it's pretty weird, but it's awesome. And another thing before we get into any game stuff, I just want to once again tell you about the Minnesota meetup. It's going to be a lot of fun, and that is going to be at the made-up bar known as the Herkimer. So it's at the Herkimer, and that is in Uptown Minneapolis, July 26th from 3 to 7 p.m. So for happy hour, we have a room. We're going to bring some games. They have some games there, but it's going to be myself, Jules from Torn Think Tank, Andrew and Kevin, I think, are going to be there from Super Number One, and of course, you guys, anybody that wants to drop by, anybody that likes the show, is in the guild or watches any of the other podcasts that I do or any of the other folks, come on down. We'll have some fun. It'll be good.
There it is.
Now, we do have something to talk about in-game, game-related, before we hit the Raiden news, and that is the new male human model.
Yeah.
So... I was
expecting a bigger applause.
You want that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Because then it doesn't make you seem so creepy.
Yeah. Right. I know.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So, fellas, I am kind of wondering why the new human male model looks an awful lot like Brian Holinka. If you guys know what Brian looks like, the new human male looks an awful lot like Holinka. I don't know.
With advanced nipple action.
Yeah. Yeah. They went all nipples on the guys for the Draenei and for the human. They went all out on the chest.
Right.
On that whole thing.
It's like areola time. Let's do this. Areola style.
I'm just watching Gary's reaction, and he's like, I can't believe we're talking about this on the show. Yes. Really?
Is that not appropriate?
And he's, like...
Look, we've all got him. I mean, come on, we're talking about... We all got him.
Right, exactly. And why no porn stash? This is what's really kind of freaking me out. I'm like going... Why don't we see the facial hair on these guys, on these big burly men?
It's getting its own reveal. So you had human human reveal, and then the stash is getting its own next week.
Right.
So
well, I suppose
you can't do both of them at the same time.
Well, I suppose it is kind of the offhand weapon of the human.
That's right. The new racial abilities.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
It reminds me, I tweeted about this, but it reminds me of that from Tangled, the Here Comes the Smolder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I think they look great. It was like, ooh. But I think it looks great, man. It looks really, I think they did a good job. It looks good. And
yeah.
I mean, all the modeling looks really good. I will say, though, I'm not a big fan. The Draenei, the shoulders, they kind of lowered the shoulders.
Oh.
Your character in game, he used to be real all big and stocky, and now he's got little shoulders now. So I don't know. That's probably a minor little thing, but yeah, I think the human male model, they did a good job. I think it looks good.
Right. The Draenei always kind of reminded me of from South Park, if you know that show, Satan. Mm-hmm. It was Satan, and now, well, it kind of built the same, right? I mean, but so anytime that I see a Draenei male, I'm like, I automatically link that, and weird things happen in my brain. So yeah, not good. Darius, what do you think about these these two things, the Draenei and the human male?
I can't. The lack of porn stash. I can't get over that. I don't.
Right.
I don't know why you want me to think about anything else.
Right.
I get it. All right. Now, before we also head into the news, I need to talk to you about tanks. Tanks! That's right. Now, of course, we're talking about World of Tanks. And right now, we've got a cool little special code to give you guys for free stuff. Here, I'll play some stuff in the background while I talk about this. But for those guys that haven't heard of World of Tanks, it is armored vehicle combat, and it is totally free to play. Meaning that you don't have to spend a dime if you don't want to. You can actually unlock everything from within the game, which is great. And now with the 9.0 release, we have new historical battles, new tanks, new textures, all of this kind of new stuff. Great gameplay, easy in, easy out. The battles for me still last about like 3 minutes. I think I had one the other day where it actually lasted for about 5 or 6 because I was hiding in the brush.
Yes. Well done.
Thank you. But I was sitting still, and that's not a good thing for tanks. So now, if you guys also, if you use the invite code GBTV for Gamebreaker TV, so GBTV, you can receive 3 days of premium, 500 gold, a new tank slot, which is awesome, and the T2LT premium tank. So why don't you go check it out today? Go to ctrdeal.com/tanks. Use that code GBTV to receive all that free stuff, which is actually really cool. And it plays well. It's a lot of fun. And right now, if you're not in the beta, you might be steaming a little bit. So maybe go blow off some steam by blowing up your competitors.
Yeah.
With tanks.
Tanks!
So there we go.
Calling all raiders from around World of Warcraft land. This is raiding news.
All right, it's time to check out raiding news in World of Warcraft. And up first, well, this is most of the show, actually. This is most of the show. World of Warcraft Warlords of Draenor Alpha turns to beta this week. And a big round of applause. Kinda. I'm going to stop it right there because it gets a big round of applause up front, and then we have some issues to talk about as well.
Oh.
So,
right.
you know, whatever. So, they opened it up to a bunch of folks. And Darius, do you know exactly what happened with this? Who they opened it up to and all that kind of stuff?
I don't know how they picked. I just know they picked a bunch of people, although not a ton of people.
Right.
Because as they keep reiterating, it is not an open beta. It's not going to be open. It won't be anything like the MOP beta. So, I don't expect to be getting a beta key here.
Right.
There's a good chance you won't be getting a beta key. So, but it's it's basically just. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you're looking for.
You are really depressing me right now. That's
Thanks,
really
Darius.
depressing. Yeah, you're not going to get one, so don't even bother thinking of getting a beta key.
But they were trying to test out the server load, just trying to make sure that the server stability was there, and
it wasn't.
And it really wasn't. It really was not. It's crashing every 5 minutes.
Did you expect anything else? I mean, they said, "Hey, beta goes live 2 p.m. Central or 2 p.m. Pacific on Friday." So naturally, what does everyone do? They log in at 1:59,
right,
and then everything goes down.
Yes,
and then there's one placeholder NPC that sends you to Draenor, who's standing in Stormwind, who's really small or normal sized rather. So everyone's standing on top. No one can click on him. Finally, they made him really, really big. And tall.
They made him about 20 feet tall, and that seemed to solve.
That was Khadgar, man.
Yeah, Khadgar's
like he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty bad A, if you know what I mean.
Really bad A.
Yeah.
I've never seen a bigger, badder A in my life. It's incredible. No, but he is. He's awesome. And for those, when you get in and you get to play, you really get to see what a big, bad A he really is.
Right.
I mean, but right. he's awesome. But yeah, no, they made him like massive into the thing. So what did you guys think? Did you get in there and check it out? What'd you think?
Yeah. It was pretty cool. So they opened up a new area, Tanaan Jungle, right? Where this is the area where you're first gonna get in there and play. And for those new 90s, this is where you're gonna be able to unlock certain abilities. So if you have like a boosted 90, You go in there and you unlock this stuff. If you've been playing for a while, though, you don't get it. I'm kind of confused about how exactly it's going to work.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was like the quest rewards would say, like, you know, if you complete this quest, you get attack abilities. And it would just be like, huh? And then you mouse over it and it's like, oh, and then there's like 3 or 4 abilities, like Death Knight. You get like, oh, you get Death Strike and you get this and that. And then another quest, you complete that and you get control abilities.
Right.
You know, like freezes and traps and that kind of thing. So yeah, it was kind of an interesting thing how they did that. It reminded me a bit of the you know, the DK starting area, you know, where you get your abilities as you go on. But that's a very good question. If you've already got them, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I mean
it must be for a boosted thing. They're probably just testing it out.
Yeah, that's what I mean. From the notes that I saw, everything was that was kind of built around the boosted 90. You know, trying to make sure that those guys could figure out what they need to do. And yeah, one of the rewards was unlock your level 75 talents.
Right.
So,
well, if you remember back in the day, they were talking about with these boosted 90s that there would be like a training thing that you wouldn't get all your abilities at first. Because remember, the big complaint was, well, hold on a minute. If we boost to 90, you're going to get spell books chock full of abilities and not know what any of them do. And they were like, oh, no. What we're going to do is you'll start out, it'll be like the DK starting area, and you'll gain your abilities. And we were like, great. And then they were like, here's the boosted 90s. But that didn't happen. You had exactly what we were afraid of. You've got boosted 90s. You've got 4 to 5 pages of all of these abilities and no idea what they're used for. So I think this is what they were supposed to do with the boosted 90s. They're now doing it in this WAD beta. You know
you called it WAD! Hey, congratulations!
Yeah.
You get the small applause for that one.
It's because it's written here, WAD. You tricked me, Crane.
I did it.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think of the Tanaan area? I mean, because we essentially go through like this mini story with Khadgar and his whiskers, which are phenomenal.
Yes.
So what do you guys think of the starting area? You kind of introduced to all these different characters. Thrall is there for some reason, even for Alliance folk, and I'm kind of confused by some of the stuff, but you know, whatever. I guess we're marching in there as heroes of Azeroth together to go fight the folks of old Draenor.
Right. The Iron Horde.
Yes, the Iron Horde. So what do you guys think of the story as far as that went in Tanaan? Darius, did you play?
I haven't really been paying attention much to the story because I know I'm going to see it 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
It's more just the world and how beautiful it looks most of the time.
It looks really cool.
There's still times in my client for some reason where I'm missing textures, and boy, does that pop you out of this beautiful world really fast.
Well, like even initially when you first log in to the Tanaan area, you go to the gate, the whatchamacallit?
Dark
portal. The portal. And there's no textures there at all. And it's like, wow, this is really weird. No stone textures at all. Not even like just a placeholder.
No.
So it's strange. But it's kind of cool at the same time. You go, all right, I feel like this game is being built before me. That's kind of neat as well. So, I don't know.
It'd be great if there was just a placeholder NPC named like, you know, GM or something like that, or art designer, and it's just running around putting in textures and like you can see it building things.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
That'd be fun.
I would like that a lot. I would like that. So, Coltrane, how about you? What have you experienced? What did you think about Tanaan specifically?
I loved it. I loved it. It was so cool getting in there and seeing the new world. It looks amazing. They've definitely upped the polygon count or the textures. It feels very lived in to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels lived in. And I felt that with the Horde too, with Frostfire Ridge. It feels very lived in. You know what I mean?
Right.
The story's great. I mean, Khadgar, you're there with all the heroes. We won't do any spoilers or anything, but he is a total bad A, and he just kicks A everywhere.
He kicks Bootay.
He does. He kicks Bootay. And it's really cool. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's still early on. You know what I mean? It's still beta. They still don't have textures for this, textures for that. But man, when you get in there and you're doing it, and it's cool, man, because it's like, this is the new expansion. This is wow, and here we go. And you know, and you see the Iron Horde and the orcs, and they look awesome with their armor, and they look really, I hate to use the word savage, but they do. These orcs that you're fighting, they look really hardcore.
Yeah.
They've upped the polygon count too, on all of the orcs. I mean, we know that for the player characters, but also the NPCs. So when you're fighting these guys, they look mean. You're like, oh, geez, like they're really hardcore.
Yeah, Kilrogg, Ner'zhul, all those guys. They look really, really intense.
But even like just the regular, like, you know, in Star Trek, the red shirt guy, like even just like orc private guy, like regular orc dude looks really mean before you wipe him out completely.
Right.
And no spoilers here. The third blood orb is upstairs. All right.
Yes.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes.
That's
how long did that
orb
take
is
you to
upstairs.
find that?
Yes.
The first time I went through, I was like, where is the what? It says 2 of 3. I went like behind the thing and
yes, same here. Right. You go to the little village and then you go down the path and then you get teleported back. It was like me and like 10 other guys. Everyone's like, where's the third orb?
Right.
No one knows.
Right.
And then I saw a little staircase. So little heads up. Don't worry, guys. No spoilers here. Third orb upstairs.
We're not ruining anything. Don't worry. We're saving you about 20 minutes of time is what we're doing.
We are. Because I thought, oh, maybe this is bugged. It's beta. Should I like report bug this? And everyone's like, I bugged it. I reported it. A lot of people actually bugged.
Oh, man.
So I know CS is like, guys, the blood orb is upstairs. Don't bug this.
The migraine is starting already.
Yeah, it's upstairs.
No. Yeah. Well, I asked via the Convert to Raid Twitter feed what you guys were thinking about this beta. Those guys that were monkeying around with this thing, and guys, why don't we do a little round table here of responses, and maybe it'll go myself and Darius and then Coltrane. How about that?
Woo!
All right. So here, I'll play some music. There we go. Okay. And here we go from Zarin CTR. It says, what I really like are the non-existent cutscenes. You get a notice of awesome in-game event, LOL, which is actually pretty cool. Darius, go for it.
We have M Schwab 74 says, haven't gotten past the training dummies yet, but the new model, spell effects, and pruning are cool.
What do you guys think about the pruning so far that you've seen? Has it all been pretty good?
So far, so good. I mean, I would say now, the classes that I've been playing, Monk, there hasn't been that much pruning. This is the Windwalker side. Right. So that still feels pretty much the same. Tried out the Frost Death Knight, which was so much fun to play in WoD. And I hear the pruning there is good as well.
You said WoD again. You said WoD again.
What is happening
you get
to me?
You get big applause for that one, my man.
First Darius with the Shadow Pan, and now the WoD. It's a rough show for me.
Right.
Rough show for old Coltrane.
It really
But
is.
I saw a ton of people actually on the training dummies, and it makes sense. You're trying out what's your new rotation?
Yeah.
What's the new feel? How does the class feel?
Right.
So I get that. Saw a ton of people on the training dummies.
Yep. All right, Colt, you're up next.
All right, from Shuttlecast.
Yeah.
He says the 5-mans are really fun. Mechanics and the environments are super fresh. I'm intrigued to see the new healing model in raids.
Yeah, the new healing model is going to be... I hear nightmare stories right now, but I think part of it is that, we may get to it with another one coming up here, but with add-ons. For healing, I need add-ons to be able to do that stuff. So that's kind of one of the stumbling blocks right now. So, I don't know. And from Fizzy CTR, we have item squish isn't noticeable, and Shadow Moon is incredible. Questing itself hasn't felt too different so far. Shadow Moon is really, really cool.
Yeah.
That zone is just
beautiful.
Oh, so gorgeous. So I'm really liking that. And like the Pale Orcs, I thought that was like a cool new addition for some mobs to go for. You know, those guys are great.
I will say real quick, the orcs themselves, I can kind of see the difference in the tribes, which I really dig. Like I can see the difference between like a Black Hand or whatever orc, and then some of the other ones, the Deadeye bad guys, that technical name. But I can actually see the difference in the orcs, which is really cool. It's, I don't know, to me, it's like, oh, neat, that's a different tribe of orc compared to this orc. Like, that's cool.
It really is cool, because they've done that with different skin tones and different things that they wear and all that kind of stuff. So they've done a really good job with that. Darius, you're up next.
We have J Falcon 1387 Says, reminds me of how much I rely on my add-ons. Much love to the add-on authors.
Yes.
It's definitely true.
Yes. So add-on authors, if you're making stuff for beta, hurry up.
Although, well, it's not the add-on authors. It's the fact that add-ons are disabled in the beta.
No.
Blizzard hasn't turned them on. But I notice every single time they iterate on these things and they make a new beta or even a build of the alpha, or rather the beta at this point, I noticed more and more things I use add-ons for are in the game, and I start feeling like I need them way less.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. They're adding things that they needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a funny thing because if you remember, weak auras, that's a very popular one. Power auras, very popular one back in the day, although power auras really isn't being used as much now. I don't think it's being updated. But Blizzard introduced those type of things where on your character you see those procs, you get those cool things, little icons on the left and right when you need to use a certain ability. And they've included that. But one thing they never really have is a healing model. Every single healer I know uses Healbot, uses Grid, uses Voodoo. I'm curious why Blizzard hasn't implemented some type of healing, type thing into the game. Right? Am I alone here?
Well, they have they stuck this is probably back in Firelands, but they stuck the built-in rating grid into the game, which has all the healing bars and everything like that.
But it's not like a click to thing. You know what I mean? Like you can highlight them and then click heal. But like what's great about Healbot is you see their name and you just click one button and boom, you're launching your heal. Same with Voodoo.
No, there's none of that. I mean, no, you could use mouse over macros and things like that, but there's nothing built in to like right click on a name in the grid and have it do something.
All right, we've got one last one here, Coltrane. What is this one?
Well, it's from old Zach Fig, and he says, at Convert to Raid, hashtag no beta club.
Yeah, no beta club.
Face.
Yeah, sad face.
Sad face.
Right, and we actually ended on the music. That was good. All right. Speaking of that, we should actually talk about beta invites, because, Darius, even you were confused about exactly how they decided it, and we actually have more music. We have more music because this is a fun. Try to switch it up a little bit. And
people are a little upset, so we need to kind of ease, and we need to calm everyone down.
And it's kind of
little upset. People are really upset.
Yeah, some people really don't like this. We'll talk about this after the soothing music though, because I think we need it. I think we need it. Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna look at the issues of beta invites through the tweets of Bashiok.
Ooh.
Okay. Now,
Bashiok.
yeah, so we start out, we'll do the same order. So we start out with first Warlords beta invite wave on its way. Check your account for flagging. Targeting first wave toward WoW veterans. Realms up tomorrow.
Bashiok.
That's pretty standard. WoW veterans, that's cool. That's cool. Darius, go. Why don't you read the next one?
He says, I don't believe account creation date is the metric we used, but again, it's a target, not a guarantee for the invite.
Bashiok.
Coltrane, you want to continue here?
To clarify, targeted first wave was at accounts that have been playing recently, with a long history of active subscription.
If you know what I mean.
Bashiok.
And then he says, if you didn't get an invite, there will be plenty more waves and ways to get in. In the meantime, streams. And then he linked to all the streams going on.
Bashiok.
That's right. Darius, you're up.
Finally, he says, a beta invitation isn't included in a pre-purchase of Warlords of Draenor.
Bashiok.
Bashiok.
Yes.
All right.
I am so relaxed right now.
Yeah. So that was kind of the look that that we had through Bashiok's tweets of what was actually going on. So they said that they were targeting WoW veterans, which is cool. And then they said, oh no, it's WoW veterans who have played a long time recently. Again, cool, but also it's still limited. Right, Darius?
Yeah, it didn't go out to many people, and it's not going to go out to many people. Like I said, it's it's going to go out in waves, and it's going to be small waves. So don't be expecting an invite. And I think that's what Bashiok is trying to say here is, not everyone's going to get one. People just need to calm down. But I think this saying that it went out to veterans is it's kind of a good idea. Get the people that have been playing for the longest or the most active that are probably going to notice the most amount of bugs or the most amount of things that are different, or figure out how spells work together in weird ways and give the best feedback. Inviting someone that started 2 months ago and is at level 43, on their main isn't going to give you the most, the best feedback for your beta, because that's what they want. This is a beta. They don't want you going in and playing the auction house, or they don't want you going in and not doing anything. They want you to be testing things. They want to see what breaks or how it works. They want to look at the numbers. And if you're not doing anything, then it's not worth it.
And if you were in beta this week, it broke a lot. Yes. It broke often.
Yes.
Colt, what are your thoughts on this whole deal?
You mean from Bashiok?
That's right. Do I need the music again? Maybe I need the music.
No, probably not.
All right.
Well, yes, maybe.
Okay,
no, but I think that what people have to keep in mind is that this is still the first wave of invites. There's going to be another, and then another, and then another, and then another. So don't worry if you didn't get in right now. Your invite might be on its way.
Right, but you gotta sign up though. I mean, if you're not marked as opting in for the beta, you won't get it at all.
I did see a tweet that somebody said, "I've been playing forever, forgot to opt into beta." So that's one thing. But no, keep in mind this is still very early, and what we were talking about earlier with missing textures. The constant DCs. This is very, very early in the beta process. This beta is going to be going on for a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't worry. I mean, there could be a definite key coming your way. It's definitely possible. Do not respond to any emails. Those links are bad. Your actual account on Battle.net will get flagged. But just keep in mind, I know a lot of you want to get in. You want to play right now, and I get that. But understand, too, the game is kind of still broken. You know what I mean? It's not really, there's stuff to check out and there's stuff to play, but it's you get DC'd like every 2 minutes, you know, and then it's stable and then you get DC'd, and then, you know what I mean?
I know that I did 2 different streams this week, and one was with I played a hunter. This was before character copy was, I'm sorry. It was after character copy was there. So I copied over my hunter and I copied over my druid. And when I was on my hunter, the pet glitch kept on happening where my pet would disappear, and then I would try to call my pet, and it says, you need to dismiss your old pet. And so I tried to dismiss my old pet, and it says, you don't have a pet.
Right.
Okay. Okay. All right. And then when I was playing my boomkin, I was NPCs were disappearing like every 5 minutes, and I was walking around, and I decided that the best thing to do was jump. And if you just jump around enough, you'll stir up the server a little bit, and then those NPCs will come back. And that's what ended up happening.
Right.
So
that's the way to go.
Because that's a technical solution to a technical problem, right?
Right.
Jumping around in game, hoping to.
I do that in real life as well. Something's not going my way, I just start jumping around.
Right.
I get what I want.
Crisscross will make you jump.
That's right. But no, it's true. But I mean, right now, I remember seeing something about like, don't play a boomkin. It's crashing the server, or like certain abilities. Like it's still very early.
Yeah.
So that's actually a good thing. So Blizzard wants to get you in. They just want it to be somewhat stable. They want it to be more stable right now. So they're testing it out. They want you, the loyal listener. They want you in. But they just got to fix it, and they got to get it better so it's a better experience for you. So when you get in, you can test it more thoroughly and better and not be disconnecting, every 2 to 3 minutes. So so have patience. Be cool. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
The DCs are lovely. I love
those. The DCs are very lovely.
They are better than they were during the alpha, though, which was every 10 minutes or so you got disconnected or kicked or crashed or something.
And then last weekend it was just completely down. So
it is better than it was.
But I will say it is really cool, and I'm really excited for Warlords of Draenor. So after getting in there and checking it out, so it is awesome. It feels really good. So
with the beta hitting this week, what do we think for release date now?
Yes. I don't know.
Some
My
people
prediction.
Go ahead.
Mine is September 2nd, Tuesday, September 2nd. It'll be almost a year from the release of Siege of Orgrimmar and 2 years from MOP hitting.
That's for reals, you're saying that?
Yeah, for reals.
For
the
reals,
day after Labor Day.
It's not next Thursday.
No, the day after Labor Day is the day it'll hit.
Okay. Coltrane, how about you?
Well, some people were saying that they called WOD Warlords of December. They were calling it Warlords of December.
Not Warlords of Destruction?
No, not Destruction or Draenor. They call it Warlords of December.
Warlords of Darius.
Right, yes.
You got it
clearly.
Right.
That is what it's all about.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say more... I mean, I think like December, maybe, you know what I mean? Get everything ironed out, rocking and rolling, might be December.
Yeah.
Maybe, October, it'd be great to have November. It'd be great. I mean, because we got BlizzCon coming up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it'd be great, I'm sure maybe after BlizzCon, something like that.
I just think that would be so tough though, right? Because if you have release after BlizzCon, how many people are just going to go to BlizzCon just like completely angry?
Yeah.
Well, but keep in mind, we do have 6.0 coming. So that is going to change up all the classes. I mean, all of them. Ability pruning, everything. There's going to be a big change in WoW when 6.0 hits. And I really think that, at least for me, that's going to keep me occupied. That's going to keep me... I want to check out my new character, my new thing.
I think we'll see at most like 3 or 4 weeks of that at most.
You think so?
And that's going to be in August.
Yeah, but see, you're going to have 20-man raiding with that. Heroic will become mythic. People are going to be getting their teams together. The classes are going to be changing. Like I said, I think there's going to be a good chunk of time with 6.0. I think that's going to keep players busy and keep them interested, in my opinion.
That's actually more of an interesting question than anything else. I mean, how much time do you think that they need for 6.0? And how much time do you think they need to really test mythic rating? And if they're on the ball, which, Ian Hazakostas and his team are usually pretty on the ball when it comes to this stuff. I think that it won't take a ton of time. It will just take some quality testers to make sure that Mythic is going the way that they want it to. So, I mean, it could wrap up in just a few weeks, maybe a month, something like that.
I mean, they're not going to be changing the raids, meaning like Heroic will become Mythic, but there's not going to be new gameplay mechanics or anything like that.
No,
but it'll be a chance for you to get your team ready and all that stuff for Warlords.
Yeah. And it's just going to be tuned properly for those 20 guys, so you can go through there. But that's about it. So I don't know. I mean, I know that Blizzard has stated already. They've actually said on or before December 20th. And they have not wavered from that at all. So I'm assuming that we will get it on or before December 20th. They had a big announcement about it, right? A couple months ago. Right. So guys, don't say next year. Don't say we won't be playing it before Christmas or after Christmas, because it should be coming December 20th or before.
Yes.
So again, I just think that there's a lot of pessimism out there about what's actually happening.
What?
And I don't necessarily disagree with it, but it's kind of one of those weird things where I'm just like, I don't know anymore. I'm done guessing, because my first guess about Warlords of Draenor, the next expansion, was the day after BlizzCon, and I was talking about 2013, not this year's BlizzCon. So, yeah, my first guess was like, hey, these guys have been so on the ball. I mean, hey, we could probably just see, beta really the day after BlizzCon or whatever. So that's what I was hoping for. And of course, that failed miserably. And it just continues to fail miserably as we progress. So I'm like, you know what? I'm done guessing. I'm just going to say on or before December 20th and move on. Because I'm kind of, I really hope. One of the things that I'm kind of concerned about, though, is the raid panel at BlizzCon. Because if they don't release the content with enough time for these teams to get through and get geared up, Method and Blood Legion or whoever, or name your team, and
that's why it's going to come out in September. September 2nd.
It would have to come out in September for them to have enough time to go through and get geared up enough for this race, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Right. So you're saying that, if it comes out early, right. Because you don't want to have these world first raiders. And I was actually talking to Bay from Final Boss about this.
Yeah.
You don't want to have these world first raiders having to miss BlizzCon because they're in the middle of progression. So it's got to be, it's an interesting thing. The window, it's got to be far enough ahead of BlizzCon that they can get progression over with, right?
Right.
Before.
Or after BlizzCon.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, it's got to be either a couple months before or directly after.
But then you've got World First Raiders raiding Christmas Eve. You know what I mean? Then you've got Christmas Day.
I know.
They're pulling bosses.
Well, if you do it early enough in November, I guess it would be fine. But it's such
an interesting
pain.
predicament. It's an interesting thing here. You know what I mean?
Because that's one of the things that I loved about last BlizzCon, right? Was the raid panel, the race, to see what works and what doesn't for these different teams, and see them really. I mean, those guys were just going crazy, and it didn't necessarily turn out. The end of it, or actually the middle of it, didn't turn out as well as we had hoped. And it wasn't necessarily as close. But still, it was cool to see all these guys just beating up these bosses left and right. And what are they going to do if they don't release this in time? Are they going to have a raid panel like that? And if so, is it going to be Siege of Orgrimmar again?
Right. They wouldn't do. There's no way they would do Siege 2 years in a row.
I know.
Let's check out Iron Juggernaut.
Right.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Yeah.
They definitely wouldn't do that. Or they. No, you're absolutely right. And some people in the chat room are saying like, oh, come on, who cares about the world first raiders? And who cares? But really, I mean, they're an important part of this game. They really are. I think competition, that next level of gameplay, is important to a game. Method, Blood Legion, Midwinter, these guys going head to head. It's our own, like, well, I don't want to say World Cup because that'll get every World Cup fan upset. I know, easy. Oh boy, here it comes. But I'm just saying that my point is that I think a high level of play is important to every game. You need to have every facet. You need to have more casual, more hardcore, more everything. And these races are fun and they're exciting to watch.
Right.
It's healthy, I think, for a game.
Yeah, I think so too. And so it'll be interesting to see exactly what ends up happening with this. So again,
we'll see, man. Right. It's interesting. Right. You got to admit.
You know what else is interesting? You know what else is interesting? These faction capitals.
Yes.
Yeah. They've changed around a little bit from BlizzCon 2013. And Darius, what's happening with the new faction capitals?
So on the latest beta of WoD, they moved the faction capitals from Karabor and Bloodspire to where are they now?
Ashran.
Is it? It's Ashran in the jungle in the new area.
Well, it's the PvP island, right? So this is the PvP island. They are outside of the PvP zones, but they are on that island. That's my understanding. So that's a little bit different than Karabor and what was the other one?
Bloodspire.
Bladespire.
Bladespire.
Wow, I don't know. Whatever one it is, but Bladespire, I think is what it is.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So we've got those two cities are not going to be the faction capitals anymore. Coltrane, thoughts on this?
Well, quick thing to keep in mind. Quick thing, and this is big time. You are not going to be required or forced to PvP. You're just going to be near the PvP area. So it's there, but it's not like right on your doorstep. You're not going to step out of the city and I'm PvP flagged and I'm ganked by a rogue. Like that won't happen.
Right.
That will not happen. That will never, ever happen. It will be somewhat like way off in the distance. You know what I mean? It'll be in the distance, but it won't be anywhere near you. The fighting is going to be way over there.
You'll be able to hear the cannons firing off in the distance.
Right. That's awesome.
But they won't hit you.
No, you'll be safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Actually, Lore came out with this great post. This big long explanation of exactly what's going to be happening with these new faction capitals, and essentially what he said was, okay, here's the deal: those two cities that you wanted the faction capital to be in, those are still going to be there. They're still going to be explorable. You can still hang out there. I think that's what Mumper said. You can still hang out there if you want.
Yeah.
Which is great, which is cool, I guess. But the issue was with Lore. Not with the community manager lore. No, with the lore.
Even
of the
though
game.
he did say this.
Yes, he did say this, which is kind of weird.
Lore talking about lore.
Lore talking about lore sounds a little self-serving, but okay, we'll do it. But he said, as development continued, this is quoting him. We came to the realization that it just doesn't make sense for the Horde and Alliance to spend so much energy and resources building up a stronghold on Draenor, only to base their efforts out of someone else's city. We're not helping the Draenei or Frostwolves fight off the Iron Horde. They are helping us. That, along with the continued development of garrisons into the overall quest and story flow of the expansion, led us to the decision to develop the Horde and Alliance bases on Ashran into the major faction hubs instead of Bladespire and Karabor. Promoting the world PvP area on Ashran is a nice perk, but it wasn't a factor in making that decision. So, they're not necessarily doing it to...
He's lying. He's lying. He's lying. It's a lie. Clearly.
Right. Clearly, Olivia Grace has got her hands in this somewhere, I'm sure, because she's trying to promote PvP.
That's right.
Even though she doesn't even work for Blizzard. So
it's Halinka.
It's
Olivia
Halinka.
Grace.
Oh, yeah, it's Halinka.
It's Halinka.
It's the new male model.
He is. It's Halinka.
Oh,
Exactly.
I don't know, guys. There's a lot of... The forums were kind of a mess.
The forums were a huge mess, and I think the big reason was everybody thought instantly that they would be forced to PvP and get ganked and all this other kind of stuff, and that's just not going to be the case. And, this way it makes sense. Like, we're the ones fighting the Iron Horde. You know what I mean? They're helping us out. It's like, we're going to build up our stuff, and we're ready to go, and then we'll go halfway across the world, and then we'll fight them way over there with the Frostwolves. Doesn't make sense.
I don't know if I necessarily buy the explanation, but I mean, at least some thought went into it. They tried to think about, the different storylines. Maybe it makes sense in the long run. They obviously know a lot more story than we do at this point. So I don't know. Darius, what are your thoughts here?
I think this is fine. I mean, it makes total sense, like they're saying. Why would we do that? Why would we hang out there? But I think aside from this and this week and maybe next week, no one's gonna notice or care. When the game comes out, it's not. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think people are making a mountain out of a molehill on this one.
They certainly cared on the forums and stuff like that, and we actually got a few tweets. One says Karabor and Bloodspire or Riot, and the other one says, I want what I was promised back at BlizzCon. So, I don't know. I mean, I can understand that they feel like this is going back on a promise, but when you're talking about game development schedules and stuff like that, it's been, 10 months.
This is what happens, though.
Yeah. Well, this is development. Like, I want that dance studio that was, I want aerial combat in Wintergrasp. It was on the box.
Right.
You know what I mean? Of Wrath of the Lich King. It was actually on the box.
Right.
But this is a part of the development process. Guys, things are going to change. You know what I mean? Things are going to get added. Things are going to get dropped. It's what happens. And this is with every single MMO. This is not just World of Warcraft. This is every single MMO that goes out there. They have ideas. This is what we want to do, and they have to change it. They just do, but they're doing it for what's right for the game. And this is for every single MMO. So I think Darius is right. Everyone's upset right now, but I think once it's released, I think it'll be fine. Me personally, I'm cool with this. I like this. I like it that there's fighting off in the distance. I know that I will never be ganked. I know that I will never be forced to PvP.
Right.
So what's the difference? Right. I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
And from your garrison, you get a portal a flight point directly to Ashran, so you don't even have to worry about it at all to your base. so you can go back there. There's, I think, in your garrison, there's also a portal to Stormwind or something like that as well. At least for a limited time. I don't know exactly all the things that are going to be in the garrison yet, but I've only put up my barracks and then the empty barracks. Did you guys notice this? I put up my barracks and it's just, it's a building. No beds, no benches, no anything. It's just a building.
That's all you need. Exactly.
I guess.
People just need a roof over their head.
I guess. They'll just stand there and sleep or something. I don't know. Anyway, so you get stuff from your garrisons to your faction capital or your faction hub and stuff like that. And I understand that the other thing that people are like, we need a massive faction capital to instead of the copy paste huts of the Horde and the Alliance. So I get that too. They want some new artwork and they want this massive thing, but you get what you get. I mean. These guys know what's going on, so I mean, obviously you can go on the forums and talk about it, but
it's up to you guys. You guys can, if you want to be upset. That's great.
Right.
You know what I mean? I look at how this will affect me personally, how this will affect me, and it's going to be fine. Nothing will change with me, so therefore I don't have a problem with this.
Right.
If I thought it would, and I thought that I would be ganked constantly, then I would be like, what the heck? I'm going to be ganked constantly. But I know I won't, so I'm cool, baby.
Right.
I'm cool.
And they changed the way that PvP flagging works as well, because both parties now have to be flagged to be able to fight each other. You have to flag yourself before you can just jump on somebody else that's already flagged. So you actually have to type /PvP and then jump into fight. So if you're not flagged, you won't be flagged. That's it.
So that's a big one.
That's
a big one. So if you accidentally cast some AoE thing or something like that, it's not going to flag you. You're going to be okay.
Right.
You're going to be safe.
Or if you heal somebody, by accident or whatever that's fighting somebody else. Like,
yes.
Okay.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. All right. Should we move on to Shadow Moon Burial Grounds?
Ooh.
The new dungeon, another new dungeon was released, and Fat Boss guys have this video available to you. And it looks pretty cool. I don't know. There was this room full. I mean, it was like this cavern of bats flying around both near and far. I mean, like, this place was huge. I was blown away, man. The artwork is looking phenomenal for this place. It's great.
Right. Darius, have you seen this dungeon?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
What?
No, I watched the Fat Boss video, but I haven't seen it in person.
Right.
That's what I mean. I'm sorry.
So, what did you think of what you saw on the Fat Boss video?
I think it looks awesome. I mean, every time I look at one of these for the first time, I think they look awesome because I love boss fights. I love seeing, how this stuff progresses and the ideas they come up with and all that kind of stuff. I just want to get in and play it.
Right. Well, these are not like some easy fights either. There were some really busy things, and this is on normal, right? There were some bosses that were really intricate. I thought like there was. I'm trying to remember the one boss. It was like two different rings. One ring would kill you, and another ring would save your damage, and you had to jump in different ones. I don't know. It looked really complex.
Right. That's getting back to that old, harder dungeons, that they were talking about. They were going to ramp up the difficulty in these dungeons, which everybody cried for. Everybody wanted. They said, the dungeons in Mists of Pandaria, they're too raffle stomp. You just blast through it. And you do now at higher gear levels.
Yep.
For some reason, everybody wants to wipe constantly. That's what everybody screamed for. So Blizzard said, okay, here's some difficulty. One thing I do dig about this is the dungeon finder. Mm-hmm. You're now going to get a bonus when you queue with friends. Like when you do it with friends, you'll get a bonus. So this will encourage you to go with your friends and do it. So that's good for harder content because if you're with friends, usually you're in Mumble or Ventrilo, and you can conquer these more difficult things, right out of the gate. So I like that there's going to be added difficulty. I think that adds a lot of fun, to the game. So it's not just like speed race through. But I don't know. I mean, that was a big thing. I remember that everyone was really upset that they wanted some of that old school. Was it like early Kata? Remember those early Kata dungeons?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Those were pain to heal.
You had no mana,
no mana whatsoever. I don't want that part. Everything else was fine though. And like all the CC that was going on. Oof, that was a little tough too. And for those guys that are curious, I will be, or somebody will be, creating a CTR guild on the PvE servers as soon as that's a thing. As soon as I kind of figure it out and maybe reset it another time, because they will reset it from time to time. So we'll try to set up a guild over on the PvE server on the beta so that we can get everybody involved and get them testing out these different dungeons, and hopefully as raids come along, we'll be testing that stuff as well. So look forward to that. I think we are gonna go and jump to the questions and stuff like that, because I see that we're running a little bit long. But first, I want to talk to you about our friends over at Audible. Now, you can go to audible.com/gamebreaker and try Audible free for 30 days and get your free audio book. What types of books? All kinds of books. They have all types of books. Seriously. They have over 100,000 books, and it's still growing, all in audio form for you to peruse as you will, whether it be on a long car ride or your daily commute to work, or just sitting at work, and hopefully you're one of those people. If you're doing this at work, you don't have to communicate with others, because it will be a little distracting sometimes because it's so good.
Right.
So head over to audible.com/gamebreaker. Try Audible free for 30 days. Get your free audiobook. And I am going to play something down for you from War Crimes.
Yes.
The new book.
Play it, please.
Very intriguing book. Here we go.
You should not have stopped Goel from killing him, Your Majesty. There is no other justice for that monster than death, and even that is more merciful than what he has done. The Ranger General's voice was sharp, and Jaina couldn't blame her, especially as she completely shared Varisa's sentiments. Garrosh Hellscream had been responsible for the destruction. No, that was too kind, too clinical a word for what he'd done, the obliteration of the city-state of Theramore. The deaths of hundreds, all occurring in the space of a heartbeat, could be laid at his feet.
I love that read. That is so cool. That is so cool.
It is so cool to hear.
Yeah, so go to audible.com/gamebreaker. Try Audible free for 30 days. Get your free audiobook. Try it out, and it's pretty amazing. So let's go into some Leading the Raid.
Leading the Raid.
When we can, we take a look at leadership issues for raiders all across World of Warcraft land. And this week, we take a look at a listener question. Coltrane, you want to help us out with this one?
Sure, this is from Spaz Wesson. I know that person.
Yeah.
I know Spaz.
Yeah.
He says, "G'day, Pat, Coltrane, and Darius."
He is an Aussie, yeah.
Yes. My guild is starting to form a raid team. We will be raiding 2 nights a week and are aiming to raid normals in Siege of Orgrimmar. My raid leader is wanting us to jump straight into Siege day 1 of raid, but I think to mesh as a team, we should start with Mogushan Vaults on our first night, even though we are probably over-geared for it. I think we should start at the first raid. So my question is, for a brand new 10-man raid team, should we, option 1, all grab timeless gear and charge for Siege? Option 2, start with MSV for the first night and progress each week through old raids, and the second night be progress into Siege. Or option 3, just start with MSV and push through the raid tiers up to Siege in order. Just wanted to get your opinion. Thank you so much.
Well, I think there might be another option or two as well. Darius, do you have your opinion ready here?
Well, I like the idea of meshing as a team. That's definitely a good thing. And the best way to mesh is killing bosses. If you're brand new though, and everyone on your raid team is fresh in timeless gear, you should not jump into Siege.
Right.
Definitely should not do that. You are going to wipe very hard on a Mercius and get very frustrated, and that's really a bad way to start.
Maybe even in Flex too. I mean, that could be difficult for you to clear at that point. So, might not be the best option. So, what do you think as far as what should they do?
I mean, if they're fresh in timeless gear and that's about it, if they're like eye level 500 around there, Mogushan is fine if you want to kill some bosses and just mesh as a team, get to know each other, things like that. But, you could even jump into something a little later and have a little bit of a challenge. it's. I recommend starting earlier than Siege, though. I definitely don't recommend jumping right into Siege at a 500 eye level.
Gotcha. Coltrane, how about you, man?
I say it's time to flex it up. Gonna flex it up until we never stop.
Oh, really? Rolling
Time to
Stones.
Flex it up.
Wow.
Yes.
Woo!
Flex, baby.
Woo!
Flex. That's the way to go. It's time to flex it up. I say you get in a little SOO flex, or you're feeling crazy, get all of you guys together, maybe queue for LFR together. You know what I mean? You get a little bit of SOO LFR. Gets a little bit better gear, but do it together. You'll have LFR, but the majority of your team will be there. Be on Mumble together and do it together. But I think flex, man, flex is the way to go for sure. Do like one clear, see how you do. Try flex, Siege of Orgrimmar, Mercia, see how it goes. Do protectors on flex, see how it goes. Or, last case scenario, all of you queue up together as one into LFR and see how that goes.
See, now I come at this from a different perspective. I think that Darius may be right in this a little bit. But
hit me.
I would suggest that you go to Throne of Thunder. I would suggest you do that because you're going to be able to maybe grab a couple of tier pieces for some folks, get some extra bonuses so that when you go into, gear up just a little bit, maybe do it your first night, go through Throne of Thunder and clear that sucker and get some trinkets, get some tier gear, get some other stuff rolling and get those upgrades because that's always nice. And if you have the Valor, start getting that 522 stuff. Because that's really going to help you along the way. So yeah, Throne of Thunder is where I would start. It's if you're in Timeless Gear, that should be pretty much, you should be able to get to the throne anyway, I would think, and maybe even be able to clear that. I don't know what people were clearing it at before. Do you know, Darius?
For Throne of Thunder?
Yeah, for Throne of Thunder.
That was...
522 was the end. The eye level for that.
I think it's 502 is right.
It was around 500 because you get 480s for Mogoshan and Terrace and things like that. 496.
Right.
So it was around 5 because it was 502 for the Terrace Venley Springs Elite Gear.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was around 500 when they started in Throne of Thunder.
Okay. Yeah.
Couple of quick things made in chat. Interesting points. Number one, Navox CTR says you need TOT for the legendary anyway. And Mr. BC Walker brings up a great point to one that I completely agree. He says TOT, Throne of Thunder, is not the raid that matters. Siege of Orgrimmar is the raid that matters. Always focus on the current raid. Now, I have to agree with him, and here's why. People are people, so what can it be? And people want the current loot. I'm in a musical mood. I'm sorry. I'm just in a terrible musical mood. I apologize.
Then I'll play this.
Yeah.
Oh man, might as well.
The worst thing you can do though for your new team is go into Siege super undergeared, have no idea how your team works together whatsoever, and then wipe for 4 hours 2 nights in a row.
Well,
everyone is going to have a miserable time.
I'm saying try it on LFR. Try it on LFR. It's a lot more forgiving. I say go for flex. But here's the thing. People want the current loot. That's what people want. People want the best loot possible for their character. They're going to be raiding Throne of Thunder, but I got a feeling they're going to be thinking in the back of their head, well, all the good stuff is over there at Siege. I'd rather be in Siege. And then imagine if they wipe in Throne of Thunder. Well, this is a waste. We're learning all these strategies for this fight when I want to be learning the Siege of Orgrimmar strategies for those fights.
True.
Just something to consider.
The problem with that, though, is that you're dealing with a 10-man team. So these guys are they're trying for a 10-man team, and if you go into LFR, you're going to have 15 other guys that don't know you. So
yeah, that's true.
So you can't really judge exactly how well you're meshing together, except for on Mumble. And nobody's going to really care about meters. You can't really tell what's going on with your team. So if you really want to judge what's going on with your team, you gotta gear up. And if you do that through Valor capping and getting 522 gear and jumping into Siege of Orgrimmar on flex and start doing that stuff, then that's fine. That's one way that you can do it. But I think that you would be at a disadvantage if you didn't go through Throne of Thunder and get more gear. It's not about learning the fights. It's about getting more gear, and then you can go into Flex and try out on Flex. I mean, you could do both. If you're doing 2 nights, do one night on Throne of Thunder, do the other night on Siege. Why not?
Right.
But I don't think there's any need to go all the way up from Mogashan Vaults. I think that you want to make sure that you're getting as good a gear as you can possibly get. So and that stuff is going to be initially anyway Throne of Thunder, and then also in Flex mode. You should be doing LFR anyway for Siege. You should be doing that anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully you can get a little bit of that even individually that way. So it's just tough to tell.
Siege of Orgrimmar Flex. Boom!
Boom!
There it is.
All right, well, we've got some more questions here, so here we go. Oh, no, not that. Sorry, that was the wrong one. That was wrong. I always have to have that PSA already because we never know when we're going to need it.
At any moment.
This week we didn't need it, right? Right, guys?
No, we did not, right? Everyone's
actually,
calm and cool.
We probably needed it. We probably needed it.
We did.
Yeah, all right.
That's
Let's
all right.
go. We've got some more questions here.
We've got mail.
We do, and if you have a question for anything about us, about rating or anything else, just let us know. We'll try to answer it on the show. You can email us at converttoraid@gmail.com. You can call our raid line, 612-787-RAID, or you can join us during the live show. Well, you can't PM us. You can try to flag us down, though, and we'll see if we can get to it. Now, first up, we have something from the raid line.
Hey, guys. Just listening to the podcast. I'm in the Convert Raid Guild. I can't remember my character's name. It's embarrassing, but I can't. Anyway, I was listening to it and heard you guys say Ubers, 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 Ubers. And it's not Ubers. It's Ubbers because it's not Upper Blackrock Spire, sorry. It's Upper Blackrock Spire. So, Ubbers, not Ubers. All right? Thanks, fellas.
I've always pronounced it Upper Blackrock Spire. I mean,
it's Ooper.
Yeah, it's Ooper. Like,
right?
I don't understand. Isn't that how you say it?
No, I guess
That's
not.
a good point.
I guess not.
But Ubbers just sounds weird. Ubbers.
Yeah,
It's like something a Tauren has. But Ubbers.
Really?
I'm just saying.
Really? Oh, man.
Well, come on. We were talking about, Nippolopolis over here with the human males. Welcome. All right. But he's got a good point. I guess you're right. You do say upper, not ooper.
Right.
So I guess you're right, sir. You are right. You are correct.
And we had another one that was all set to go. It was about, can we predict about when the game is going to come out, and we ruined it from an earlier prediction. So I think
blame me.
Right, exactly. I think that we'll just move on. We have one from Kevon. Darius, can you actually help us out with this one?
So this is from Kevon from Zul'jin Horde. He says, I've always been Horde, but with the new male Draenor model, I'm considering changing things up and faction changing all of my 90s to Alliance.
What?
Gasp is right.
Wow.
It sounds like CTR is a good place to be. As for the Minneapolis meetup, even though I'm not a guildie, can I still stop by and have some spicy water with you guys? No.
Yeah.
Perhaps that will solidify my decision to realm transfer.
And I will say it this way. You are always welcome to come by any meetup that we schedule at all. It doesn't matter whether you listen to the show or not, even if you're just on the street.
If you can find the made-up bar.
The Herkimer?
Zug.
Yeah. Herkimer? Yeah.
Does not exist.
Does not exist. No, it totally does.
You can find that, then you win, and you're allowed to have spicy water.
If you need to find the Herkimer, it's at theherkimer.com. H-E-R.
That's helpful.
Herkimer. There we go.
I even spelled weird.
Well, you spelled rectified earlier. Come on.
Well,
you're
you're
not
right.
one to judge.
You're right. You're right.
Oh, man. So changing everything to Draenor, though, that would be weird.
I think that's awesome, man.
That'd be strange. Or at least to Alliance, that's a lot of dough. That's a lot of do-re-mi right there.
I gotta admit, I'm guilty of that. All my dudes were Horde, and we transferred to Area Peak. I ended up transferring like 9 characters.
Oh, dude! Ouch!
Yeah, trust
did.
me. The lady train, the wife wasn't too happy about that one.
They had to construct a doghouse just for you.
Yes, exactly. She was like, "What are these charges? This Blizzard? Oh, it's now that there's 9 of them." Well, so what I did though, I tried to space it out, so it didn't look as bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like when you're young and they say like, eat all your food on your plate, and you just kind of spread it around so it looks like you ate all the food. Same type thing. I spread out the transfers, so
and
it's
then
not all at
then you
once.
put the bills in your napkin and you threw it away.
Exactly.
Let Mr. Magoops eat it.
Magoops!
I don't know
That's
about that.
Goops.
Whatever. All right. Let's see. One more. Let's do one more and then get the heck out of here. This one is from Autumn's Bane, and I'll take this one. Dear Pat, Coltrane, and Darius, recently I leveled a Holy Priest, my first maxed priest in 10 years of playing. I have 13 level 90s, including every class but Monk, and now he has a Holy Priest. I worked with it until it was geared for LFR and passed the Bronze Training Grounds test for healing. I began to notice an unreasonably high emphasis on healing meters, and people were constantly spamming them. I was, of course, very low at the beginning, but I did make my way up as time went on, but I never really got to the top, and I have a few suspicions as to why. If no one was wounded and when the raid was in good shape, I held back, perhaps throwing a hot or AoE for maintenance, while everyone else was constantly spamming heals for no apparent reason. Oh boy. That sounds familiar.
Yep.
While I don't intend to heal in Warlords of Destruction, I have been told that mana will be an issue in WoD raiding, and I'm thinking that the constant spamming of the heals is not what healers should be doing when 6.0 hits. I've always been of a mind that if no one was dying, the healing was fine, regardless of the role I was in. Do I have valid concerns here? Am I thinking proactively, or am I just doing it wrong? Thanks. Okay, so kind of a long question, but the thing is about healing for 6.0 and beyond.
Well, first off, he is doing it wrong. He's using logic.
Right.
You should not be using logic.
Especially not for LFR. That's not the place.
Especially not in LFR. No place for logic there.
Like with everything else you do in life, don't concern yourself with what other people are doing. Like it doesn't matter here. Like, it doesn't matter what they're doing or what the meters say or anything like that. If people aren't dying, then the healers are doing their job. Now, that's not to say what you're doing is completely right, though. There are always times where you should be proactive in your healing and hotting up people or getting big heals ready and things like that for when damage comes. Don't react to the damage. React to or have your heals reacting to the damage. Don't wait for something to happen and then do it. So that's not really the best way to heal. But in this case, in LFR, don't worry about the disc priest that's just spamming, Divine Aegis and getting massive numbers and nobody's taking damage. This is, like, if you're doing your job and no one's dying, you're doing your job. Don't worry about it.
Right. Coltrane, how about you?
Well, Killer Tofu 01 in the chat room said, he is doing it right, but people will see him low on the meters and people won't like that and they will then call him a bad healer.
Yeah.
And he's right. So here's the thing. Like, I took my old Resto Shami in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the old LFR. Mm-hmm. And there's not a ton of damage going out. So everyone is always topped up, like, at all times. Everyone is always at, like, 99% health. And maybe they'll drop to 95 and they go right back up within seconds. So I was doing what he was doing. I was just like, no one really needs heals. I'm just going to chill. And occasionally I'd heal this and that. And then I was at the very bottom of the list and they were like, look at this healer. He only healed for like nothing. But nobody needed healing. So Darius is also making a point that you need to kind of maybe pre-heal or be ready. But LFR is the toughest possible thing because there's not a lot of damage going out. And there's a lot of healers that are just spamming heals like crazy to get to the top of the meters. So in my opinion, he's right. If no one needs healing, there's no point in doing it. But a lot of people in the chat room are saying something else. This is interesting. Right. If your mana allows, you should always be casting. And that also goes for DPS as well. As DPS, you should always be casting. You should always be fighting and doing something. So that's another interesting point, that if your mana allows, you should always be casting.
But you don't have to be casting heals. You know what I mean? It's like if nobody's taking damage and it's like a lull period or whatever, and I have tons and tons of mana, I'm going to throw off some wraths or something like that, and I'm just going to chuck some DPS at the boss a little bit here and there as I can. Or if you find that it's really a problem, just you can switch to disc if you want to, really, and then just smite the boss, and then that way you're doing both. So I mean, you're kind of doing double duty, which is why I think a lot of people go disc priest anyway, especially in LFR, big numbers for healing and damage to the boss. I mean, that's kind of
the problem here is we're looking at this the wrong way. It's not the healing, the heals per second or the meters or anything. That's the problem here. It's LFR. It's the fact that there are way too many times in LFR where there is just no damage, or there's such light damage, or people way over gear it, so they're not taking enough damage. That this is why WoD will be great. In that there'll always be healing to do, and that's what you need to be thinking about.
Sure.
There'll always be something to do.
And especially right now in LFR, you have people with item levels of like 580 or whatever going through LFR, and these guys are not going to take a hit. They can't. I mean, you have tanks that are at that kind of
immune to physical
level.
Damage at that point.
Yeah, exactly. They look at Immersius and they go, yeah, whatever. And they just they can turn their back to him and not take any damage. It's crazy. So yeah, it's definitely that. And I think you're right. Once 6.0 hits, those guys that are spamming heals left and right, those guys are going to be in serious trouble. We're going to actually have to really kind of examine what is going on with our mana at that point and figure it out. I mean, now they didn't say that this was going to be Cataclysm healing all over again as far as mana is concerned, but they did as far as healing is concerned. So you know, there's going to be a major shift. I think that people will really change the way that they do healing with 6.0. It's going to be craziness.
Yeah. And Blizzard said too, LFR is essentially tourist mode. So don't base how to heal or what to do in LFR. Go into a flex. You know, that's where at least some form of actual healing is done. Definitely. In flex, and then of course normals and on. But I would try not to use LFR. That's really just to kind of see the boss, see some kind of cool mechanics. That's the purpose of LFR.
Gear up a little bit, sure.
Yeah, get some gear and all that kind of stuff. But it's just kind of like a tourist mode. Check it out, see what it is, but not necessarily this is how you play your class.
Right.
LFR should not be used for that.
Well, and Holy Priests, by the way, just so you guys know out there, they also have some issues when it comes to their ranking on the meters of things, kind of like druids, kind of like shaman, and you know those guys that aren't doing bubbles. They take a little hit in the healing meters. So
I heard they're making a comeback though in Warlords. Holy Priests are making a comeback.
Warlords of Destruction. Warlords of the Holy Priest.
That's right.
There we go. Okay, so let's get out of here. But before we do, let's take a look at some 5-star reviews. Oh, wait, hold on a second. I got to play this music. This music. Sorry about that.
There we go.
I was early on the jazzy music. So, Darius, what do we have this week?
Oh, boy.
I even said it pre-show.
Oh.
I might have mentioned it.
Oh,
I don't know what you're talking about.
We caught him he was too busy watching soccer. That's what it was.
Right.
Getting
doing
ready
all this
for the
typing
soccer
during the
matches.
show.
Right, exactly.
Let's just vamp.
You said nothing pre-show.
Oh, I mentioned it.
I got him. I got him right here.
Okay, what do we got?
So we've got Wazman. We've got Sabermao, and that's it.
Okay.
Woo!
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for the 5 stars. That's always awesome. Thank you for the for all the comments on YouTube and stuff like that.
I noticed when I saw the Furious D, I knew that was last week. I remembered that name.
Right. So now, do we have any shout outs this week?
I do. I got a shout out to Arterius, and all of the wonderful members in CTR from New Zealand.
Oh.
I saw him in the old pagoda area and the panda thing, and he said that he's from New Zealand, and all the New Zealander members are big fans of the show. So big shout out to all those guys and girls who are in the show.
They're called Kiwis.
Yes.
That's what they call themselves.
They're big fans of the show. Big shout out to all the new members, all the old members from New Zealand. So thank you for being in our family and listening to the show.
Absolutely. Darius, you got anything?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Makis. He's helping out with the CTR website. He's doing an amazing job.
He really is.
An amazing work. Yeah, the whole website, back end, all of it looks
we've got
fabulous. So
as always, we've got a bunch of stuff happening with CTR, with the guild, with everything that we do, and the website is one of those things that oftentimes you don't see what's going on with it. But Darius and Makis have been doing an amazing work on the website, and thank you guys for that. And I also want to shout out to Sharku, who we know and love from the Asparagus Initiative, and also Baradova. I was running a bunch of scenarios with those guys last night, helping me Valor Cap and all that kind of stuff, having some good times. And it's been a while since I've played with Shark, and that was fun. And as a mage, he plays it like a tank. Go figure.
All right.
Go figure. But now I'm gonna bail. Oh, the music ended before I could bail out on it.
Whoa.
I started it up again just so I could bail on the music.
Bail out?
I'm just gonna bail out. That's fine.
Oh, you just bail out.
Right, I started
bail
it
out
up.
of that?
I started it up so I could bail out on it.
Oh.
So I could continue the joke. That's the important thing. All right, and I'll play this one. There we go. Ooh. All right, we cannot do this show without you guys. Thank you so much for your feedback, for your questions, and please feel free to join in on every single conversation we're having at any time. You can email us at converttораid@gmail.com. You can call us and leave comments and questions on our raid line, 612-787-RAID. That's 612-787-7243. Follow us on Twitter at converttораid, or individually, isn't that right, Coltrane?
That is right, Pat Crane. You can follow Pat Crane at Pat Crane. You can follow Coltrane at _Coltrane, and you can follow Darius at Board Mine.
Yes, and you can join the Bazuba Nation by heading over to converttораid.com, where we have show downloads, forums, tons of links for raiders, and so much more. That's all happening behind the scenes on the website, as we just talked about. Woo! So there. Yeah. It's all at converttораid.com. Our videos are there. Our live feed and video show is also on gamebreaker.tv. So please make sure to watch, like, comment, share, subscribe to the YouTube stuff, and to all the stuff you see on GBTV. It's really awesome.
Click all the buttons.
All the buttons. And our audio show is available on Stitcher, the BlackBerry Podcast Directory, iTunes, all sorts of places like that. And that's going to do it for this show. That's it. Woo. That's the show. That's it. We hope you had a good time. Hope you're not completely angry about your faction capital being taken away from you, or you're not getting a beta invite. We hope that you're fine, you're calm, you're serene, because we want to see you in 2 weeks for our next show as we come back from our July 4th break. So, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time, everybody. Sunday, 11 a.m. Central in 2 weeks. And for all the guys in Convert to Raid, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.